the up-to-date standings. Mark, what do you think has been the biggest surprise in this race for you for the final playoff spot out west?
Those hot Phoenix Suns, baby. Rachel, we gave them no chance. We gave them zero chance. But I talked to Monty Williams earlier today. He was running around the property, said he needed some sun rays. But in the gym right now, the Suns are burning people. They're 4-0. Devin Booker is cooking. But that's what we expected him offensively. But he's given leadership. He's playing D. The DeAndre Ayton haters, silence him. DeAndre Ayton's balling right now. He's blocking shots. He even hit a three. I mean, look, I'm stunned by these Suns, but Monty Williams kept them, reminding them that when they had wins of 2 in a row or 3 in a row, to take the noise, push it away, not pay attention to it, and focus on the day. And they brought that to the bubble. And their focus and not looking ahead is a big reason why they're successful right now.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting, Mark. I've talked to Monty on and off throughout this pandemic, and he really liked how they were handling that layoff. Again, a young team, a young growing team. He was just remarking on the camaraderie they had, even though they weren't actually to be able to be physically in the same spot. And I think that's what you're seeing. You know, we expect Ayton to be dominant down low. We know that Devin Booker can score the way he does, an elite volume score. What I've been impressed with is guys like Mikal Bridges, who, by the way, is part of the reason T.J. Warren struggled the other night. Cameron Payne and Cameron Johnson shooting almost 50% from the three-point line in the bubble. Those are the kind of contributions that I didn't expect. And that's why these guys are rolling right now, because it's not just those two stars, it's everybody.
It's going to be so interesting the rest of the way here to see. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was going to say, also talking to Monty today, he said one of the great things about this experience is this is the youngest team in the league. And now in their hotel, they're seeing Pop walk around. They're seeing Melo, CJ, and Dame. They're getting playoff basketball. DeAndre Ayton is like 22. Booker is 23. So regardless of what happens, this experience is going to be huge for this very young franchise going forward.
Yeah, no, I cannot agree with you more. It's kind of what we talk about with an Olympic experience, except now they're on separate teams, but they're still together. They still have the opportunity to be around and learn from those guys. And I do think it's interesting. Are the Suns going to be an indicator of the chaos that we're going to see in the bubble? Because you guys remember, in lockout-shortened seasons, we've had unusual results make it to the playoffs, right? We all know about '99, the 8th-seeded Knicks making it to the NBA Finals. We don't know what the bubble is going to be like. We've never experienced this before. We did know it was going to be different. And the Phoenix Suns, that had a lot of people questioning if they should even be included in this bubble, are sitting here being the ones making some noise. And I just wonder if that's an indicator that we're going to see more upsets. We're going to see more teams that don't look like they looked for the first chunk of the season. It's fun to find out, man. I root for chaos. I'm all in on this. I do want to move to one of the favorites, though. Kawhi and PG-13 combined for 53 points last night in the Clippers' win over the Mavericks. They would see the Mavericks if the playoffs started today. And we say that sometimes in sports, but I swear, the playoffs are starting soon. It's less than 2 weeks. So after the game, Doc was asked how his team is playing, how playoff ready they were on a scale of 1 to 10. Doc said, that's a good question. I don't know, a 6 or a 7. He said, we still have Montrez out. And then he said, Jackie, he said, I would just settle for having my team have a full practice. I said, Doc, how many times has your team had a full practice this season? He said 3 times all season. So, Jackie, do you think that Doc is running out of time to maximize the potential of this roster?
Well, the time is ticking. It's funny, if you asked him on a thing of 1 to 10, I would have said incomplete, because that's been the answer all year long. And, you know, think about it. When the bubble first happened, you're worried about the Lakers because Avery Bradley made a very personal and I think a very good decision not to come. And then Rondo is out with an injury, and you start thinking, wow, this is going to kill the Lakers. The Clippers are golden. Well, then all of a sudden, Pat Beverly misses time. He has to leave the bubble. Montrezl Harrell has to leave the bubble. As we all know very famously now, Lou Williams missed time in the bubble and then missed time when he came back. So they have never had continuity. And at some point, you have to wonder, don't you need a little bit of a longer sample set for continuity? Having said that, when you watch the way Kawhi Leonard played in that game last night, I will never bet against Kawhi Leonard again, ever, 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 ever.
Well, I'm not too nervous about the Clippers right now because one main thing, Paul George is here, Kawhi Leonard is here, and they're healthy. That's the biggest thing. We got to make sure for the Clippers that these two guys are healthy. And I also think they had a statement win yesterday, beating up Dallas like that. This is going to be their first-round opponent. Harrell will probably be back next week. So I think what we're talking about right now, Doc Rivers is going to feel a lot better a week from now. He'll probably have a complement of players, have a couple practices before the real game start. I think the Clippers are going to be fine. And having like 7 guys gone is certainly tough throughout this process. But those 2 guys, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, are here. And as long as they're here, I think the rest will work out.
Well, look, we've seen it in past years, right? Especially with LeBron when he was in Cleveland, where that team would go into the playoffs looking completely discombobulated. Their defensive numbers were horrible, right? We had one year where BPI gave them like a 2% chance to make the NBA Finals. And, of course, they made the NBA Finals because good teams can use those early playoff rounds. If they can get by on talent, they can accumulate the cohesiveness as they go through those first couple rounds. So the NBA, even though it's in a bubble, is still giving teams 7-game playoff series. They are going to have the opportunity to mesh together in those early rounds if they don't run into a very hot team. And so far, the Mavericks are their first-round opponent, and so far, the Mavericks are not a hot team. We will see what happens there. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.